All right. Hello, everybody. My name is William Pohamus, and today I'm joined with Paul Johansson and Larry Jackson. Larry is a candidate running to represent West Virginia's first congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives. We will be asking him a series of important questions about his campaign and his plans for addressing issues that West Virginians face. And this interview is not an advertisement or an endorsement. It's simply an opportunity for voters to hear directly from the candidate. Paul?
Yeah. Once again, my name is Paul. Larry, thank you for joining us. We are not journalists, we're citizens of West Virginia. And what Will started off that we are trying to provide to other citizens here is a chance to get to know the candidates at a personal level, as well as what matters to them as candidates in their policies, in their character, in their history, and what they bring to the page and what they bring to the voters of West Virginia. So we give a candidate as much room as they want to expand on their answers, and please take advantage of this opportunity. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we'll start with an introduction, Larry. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and share your core goals and policies?
My name's Larry Jackson, 43 years old. Been married to my high school sweetheart for 20, almost 24 years now. Been together since 1999. Together we have six wonderful kids. I'm not a politician. I grew up in poverty. I know all too well what it's like to struggle. The government in my 43 years has not made any of this any better. As a matter of fact, they continue to make it worse. That's why I've decided to run. I feel West Virginia is not being represented at the federal level. We are forgotten. And I hear that all across the board as I've been running now for a year. Folks just can't get in contact with anybody. They can't get any answers. They can't get any help, and they're tired of it. So I think I'm the best person for this job. I'm just an average citizen that is trying to make a change.
Thank you. So next question, you can once again you can go back to anything and bring up anything you feel you missed. But the next question is, you said where you grew up and how you've come to know West Virginia. It goes far back into your parents' history or whatever works for you.
Yes, I was born in Mercer County in Princeton. That's where I was born at Princeton Community Hospital, and I've lived my entire life in Wyoming County. Born and pretty much raised here in Wyoming County, and that's where I still reside today. I do own a business now. I worked hard to come out of poverty, started a business, heavy equipment, and so that's kind of where I am today.
Got it.
Awesome, thank you. And could you tell us a little bit more about what influenced you to pursue politics?
What influenced me is any changes that you're wanting to see. You can get out here and I tell my wife and kids this, you can get out here and protest and do all this, but it kind of falls on deaf ears. If you're going to make a change, it's going to come from the inside. So that's why I got involved. And I started a couple of years ago, campaigning for other candidates. And then, I am a Christian, and God just kind of led me here to where I am today, and that's kind of what's got me here today.
Awesome, thank you. And feel free to touch on these a little more if you want to go into depth. We're happy to hear anything else from you. So, Paul, if you want to go with the next one.
Thanks. So this is a question once again to expand on. Is there anything about your history which, if revealed, could harm your campaign?
No, I have fought lawfare. I did fight with the DNR, with a anonymous call lies, but no, I'm just an average West Virginian that have faced a lot of what everybody else has faced throughout the years.
Awesome. And I think that's what a lot of people want within their representatives is someone who understand the issues that we all face or have faced at some point. So next one, it's a little bit of a fun question. It's who are the people you don't want voting for you?
Everyone smiles when they hear that.
That one is who I don't want voting for me. I guess if there is an answer to that, I mean, of course, I want everyone voting for me, but I am authentic. Don't I'm not a politician. I'm not going to tell you one thing and do the total opposite. So if you don't like what I'm saying and what I'm running for and on, you probably shouldn't vote for me because I'm going to do exactly what I'm telling you I'm going to do.
Good, wonderful.
Thank you. So next is what commitments are you willing to make regarding sources of funding for your campaign?
As far as, can you clarify that just a little more?
It's totally everyone. We leave the questions kind of as they are, and you answer it as you choose. Some people have talked about corporate money or out-of-state money or PACs or super PACs. Some talk about how they accept donations or who they don't accept from. That does that give you a sense of what you're looking for?
Yes.
Yep.
Right now, I have my donations are coming from grassroots people, average citizens that are looking for a change. I have self-funded this campaign quite a bit. So, I don't accept money from these corporate PACs. I've not accepted a dollar from them. And I encourage people to go look at mine and my opponent's FEC report, and they can see where exactly my money's coming from and where her money's coming from.
Gotcha. Is that I'm hearing it as where you've been. Is that something you're committed to, or is that just what you're where you're at right now?
Yes, I'm committed to it. I am not taking money. I've always heard and say that every dollar comes with a string attached to it. Nobody gives you money unless they're wanting something in return. I am not bought and paid for. I am working for the citizens of West Virginia and no one else.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you very
Wonderful
much.
to hear. Wonderful. So our next one is more about the issues in West Virginia. Feel free to add any other issues that you think. We just put a few for the question, but it's many West Virginians have faced issues for decades like addiction, high healthcare costs, and electricity costs, et cetera, et cetera. What will you do differently to ensure your plans turn into results?
The biggest thing between me and my opponent is listen to the people. I face, the questions that you just said. I face those as well. I struggle with high utility costs, the infrastructure, the roads, the high cost of groceries. That's something, and I'm feeding a fairly large family, so grocery shopping is definitely not fun for me. It's very expensive. Um, we need to get these down, or we need to compensate for it. Let's get rid of some taxes. The government is taxing us to death at every single turn. No matter what you do, you're taxed for it. We need to do something to give back to the people, whether that's cutting their taxes, whether that's capping these utility costs. But we have to do something because I do know people now that are on fixed incomes that are having to struggle to decide between their medicine or utilities. It's something that no one should have to struggle with.
You're right. You're very much right. And so, Paul, I guess you got the next one. I
Yeah,
think
this
you're up.
is one for you to go as far as you want on once again. When experts present different recommendations, what process do you use to reach a well-reasoned conclusion?
Common sense. which seems to be lacking in government. A lot of these politicians seem to act in their best interest, not the citizens' best interest. So when the experts come to me and they say, this is going to work and there's difference of opinion, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to speak with my constituents, you, the very people that are going to vote for me, and get your input on it. Because again, I'm representing you. So your opinion very much matters. So I'm going to take the common sense approach. If something just doesn't sounds too good to be true, it generally is.
Are there any issues where you've run into that, where you say there's a lot of things going on right now, water, data centers? I just want to throw options out. Anything you want to riff on? You mentioned people who aren't being able to meet expenses, prices going up. Is there any one of those where you've seen legislation that you see it as sold out in some way and harming the people? I mean, certainly addiction we mentioned before, but any of those that you'd like to go into depth on?
Yes, the here in Wyoming County and a lot of the surrounding counties, water is this is 2026. Why are we having such a hard time getting our state and federal representatives on the same page to fix the water issue? What's the problem here? Um, I don't understand that. There's another one that is, the addiction, and I've got some papers here on it, and you know, our current congresswoman, and it's something called R Corp, RCORP. Um, so they're wanting to fund this, and it's it doesn't encourage recovery. It's just giving these facilities our tax money, but they have to show no accountability. You don't have to get the people sober. You don't have to show where the money's going. I mean, it's just give them money. I mean, what sense does that make? We are paying this. It's our money going to this. So as a citizen, if my money's going to something like this, I want some results. I want to see some results. I want to see that these people are getting clean. Or what's the point if you're not getting them clean, you're not getting them sober, and you're not helping them? Why is my tax money going here? It needs to be going into the road or into the water or something more
Mm.
productive.
I wonder if there's we had an interview earlier today, and I'm trying to remember, it was Kessler,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he mentioned that he was on the legislation where there is a treatment that started off. Do you remember what county it was, Will?
I don't
Started
think.
off in county. No, he was responsible,
Oh
and it
yeah, yeah. I do remember
led.
that though. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that it led to pretty successful results in a lot of places, got adopted around the state. I don't know if it was everywhere, but they did reproduce something that was having results. So might be worth checking into his campaign. But there are obviously some, I hear what you're saying. There was a group that tried to move into our county. It never ended up happening. Bought an old, dilapidated, not an old building, and then nothing happened. And then 3 years passed and nothing happened. And the county's trying to pour money into getting them going and nothing happened. And I don't, then you just didn't hear about it. I don't even know if it cost money or if it was just a pipe dream, but it was, I've heard stories like that. Um, so for what it's worth, there may be some programs out there and some that do and don't work. So thank you.
Yeah. All right. The next one we got for you is what's one necessary policy to address West Virginia's longstanding issues that might be unpopular but you believe is essential?
Can you repeat that question one more time?
So, what is one necessary policy to address West Virginia's longstanding issues that you believe that might be unpopular but you believe is essential?
I mean, I don't think the problems we face are for the most part, common sense, our infrastructure. We're riding roads that are falling apart. I really don't know of any off the top of my head that may be unpopular. I think we can all agree, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, that our infrastructure needs fixed. Our people need water. So I'm not off the top of my head. I'm not certain of any that may be unpopular, other than maybe the Second Amendment. I am a very strong advocate for the Second Amendment. I believe that all of these gun laws that are on the books are illegal. They clearly go against the Constitution. So there may be, I mean, that may be with some, especially on the far left, that may be unpopular, but that is something that I look to repeal. But again, that's a lot of our everyday issues are really common sense, and I think we can all agree that they need addressed. I don't think any of them are really unpopular. I mean, they've been around forever,
Right.
and it's like our roads. We can all agree that our roads are horrible and they
Mhm.
need fixed. Water, it's horrible. It needs fixed. Jobs, we
Let
need more
me
jobs in here.
Yeah, no, let me see if I can come up with something that might be unpopular based on conversations we've had with others. I suspect Second Amendment issues. This is a pretty strong gun Second Amendment focused state. Um, I know a lot of people that some red flag laws seem to be in the consensus. Most people do go along with those, but Second Amendment not. One that comes to mind is like green energy, where some people want to bring solar and other things in, use mountaintops that are depleted to put in solar, things like that, that could be unpopular. Do you any of those that ring a bell for you?
As far as the green energy, that is unreliable. It is what it is. It's unreliable. I would much rather use these mountaintops to put in factories, jobs that are sustainable and going to be around, not just something that, we can put some people to work for 3 to 6 months building the solar panels or windmills or what have you, that are eventually going to fail. So I am against that.
Awesome. Awesome.
And if anything comes up that, and the reason I think we asked for is the unpopular is sometimes politicians have to do things that they know are necessary, but it's a real hard sell. And so that's part of, I think, why we asked the question. So if something comes up, let's bring that back. Will?
I think this next one was you, Paul.
Oh, got it. So what experience or expertise best prepares you for this role, and where do you expect to rely on advisors?
Well, what experience? Um, Again, I have no experience. The Constitution's clear that you just need to be a certain age and what have you, a resident. So there's really no, as far as the Constitution goes, there's really no experience. Life experience has taught me a lot. Life itself, again, going from poverty to owning a business and still struggling with the everyday issues that a lot of the majority of Southern West Virginians face, that makes me qualified for this job because I know exactly what they need, and that's what I'm going to do.
Awesome, and thank you for that. That we have three more left for you. And the next one is, how will you engage with constituents who did not vote for you or who strongly disagree with you?
I will engage with all constituents. I am very open-minded. If you don't agree with me, I am willing to sit and listen to you. And if your ideals make sense, I'm absolutely willing to sit and listen to you. I will not sit and engage in an argument back and forth. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. I'm just not that kind of person. But if you come to me and you reach out to me, I absolutely will engage with you. I have on Facebook, other platforms, out in public. I'll engage with anyone, and I'm absolutely willing to listen to everyone's concern. They're all legitimate concerns. Whether I agree with it or not, it's a concern, or you wouldn't be coming to me with it. So I'm absolutely willing to sit and listen to you and hear your concerns. And there is always a middle ground that we can come to where I don't get everything I want, but you're not going to get everything you want, but we can come together for the common good.
Right.
Let me take a chance to go a little further in. You talked about being open-minded, listening to people's concerns, and do you have a like an example? It could be, I mean, I understand you're not a politician, so drawing from your own life experience where you've started off believing something, and then by virtue of having a conversation and learning from somebody else that you've changed your views. Do you have something that you'd like to share on that?
Not that I can think of right off the top of my head. I'm sure I could sit and think and come up with something where I disagreed with someone.
It's all
And
good.
Yeah, no, it was just to give an opportunity for that. And if something comes up, please share. One of the things that we have done is later on, if you come up with a thought, you want to share it back, and we'll try it. We're closing up the interviews, but we try to make room for someone that hasn't had an opportunity to share something they want to. Just let us know, and we'll try to fit that in.
well, I definitely appreciate it. Again, I can't think of anything just right off the top of my head.
It's all good then. It's all good.
It's good.
But I'm
It's just
sure there is.
Yeah.
Again, I am very open-minded. I am very understanding, very open-minded. I understand that God made us all different. I don't agree with my wife on everything. Sometimes I keep my mouth shut when I don't agree with her, but we don't agree on everything. God made us all different. So I am willing. It's kind of like a marriage. It's give and take. It's give and take. It's not all give. It's not all take. I'm absolutely willing to listen to anyone. Again, as long as we don't get into this big argument or fight, I am just bluntly honest. I have my views like everyone else, but I understand that I'm not going to Washington just for my views. I'm going for the majority of West Virginians and taking their views. I understand that. I'm ready for that. There may be things that I don't necessarily agree with myself, but the majority of the people of West Virginia do. So that's what I'm going to do. How do I know that they're in agreement, the majority? I'm talking to them. I'm out meeting them. I'm talking with them. I'm having them in my office. Again, I've said this for quite some time. If you're not engaging with the constituents, how do you know what they think or what they feel or what they're going through? You don't. You have to be engaged with the citizens. And that's one of my biggest priorities is to be engaged with them.
I'll
thank
say
you.
I really appreciate that answer because it's really important for them to be open, and we know that sometimes our current incumbents, a lot of people are frustrated with that. And Paul was saying earlier, sometimes it's better they get an answer than get ignored
Get
completely.
get.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's better. I was talking to Patrick, and he said sometimes it's better to hear no than nothing at all.
yeah,
No response is,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I hear that. You really don't understand how much I hear that.
yeah.
It's one of the biggest things I do hear. And I don't always tell people what they want to hear because again, I'm just honest. Some of this interview, they people may not agree with it, they may not like it, but it's just honesty. Um, but people are reaching out to me, and I'm just a candidate, but they're reaching out to me with different issues and concerns because they can't get in contact with the current congresswoman, and it's very frustrating. I will say that I myself did reach out to her at the beginning of this campaign in 24, December of 24, tried to meet with her and never heard back. So again, I know all too well what the people are facing. And if I voted for you, I want you to at least hear me, answer
Right.
the phone, come out and see me, hold a town hall, hold an event, not hide. I mean, it just come out when you're asking for some votes, and then you're really hiding. You're just making a few Facebook posts asking for votes. That's not what a representative does. That's just not what they do.
Thank you. And I think you've got, like I said to Patrick, it's rare to get as many candidates we've had, and they're all, I think, 100% in agreement on what you just said. So I hope that you'll
Yeah.
speak as a chorus, because the message we're trying to get the message through, and I think anything short of a chorus won't quite work at this point.
Yes.
All right.
So the next one, well, Paul, I guess, well, I'll do this one. Okay, so you can feel free to expand on this because I know you talked about this as well, but what are your plans for transparency and accountability in office?
Transparency and accountability are major factors in my campaign. The people need to see what's going on. The government works for the people, not the other way around. I don't, I'm being transparent. I have been with people. I will continue to do so. Accountability, that lays more with the people. It's just like now, the majority of people are not happy with their current congresswoman. They need to hold her accountable and they need to get out and vote. The accountability portion with the money, I look forward to working with state officials, constituents, because the lawfare is very real. The money that's being wasted and no one seems to know where it's going, it is very real. That is something that I'm going to come into Southern West Virginia as a congressman, and I'm going to find out, where did this money go? I want to see receipts for where this money went, these projects, the water projects, the infrastructure, whatever the case may be. I want to see where this money has went because the people are asking me where this money has went. And right now, I'll give you an example.
Yeah,
Water
thanks.
in Wyoming County. There's, I think, somewhere around, I don't have the number in front of me, but I think it's around $200 million over the years, over the course of, I don't know, 10 or 12 years or
200
something.
million just in the county?
Yes, for water
Oh my God.
projects, and yet no one has any answers to where that money's went or why these projects
That's
aren't completed.
absurd.
That's incredible. I mean, I mean, a couple million I would have gone to, but blah, 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 blah. That's
And
incredible.
again, don't hold me to that number. I could be
Of
wrong,
course,
but
that's
it
Yeah,
is
we
a
won't.
yeah.
large number.
No, I
That
appreciate it.
nobody seems to know where it went. And I've personally asked, where did this money go? Oh well, we don't know. We're not going to worry about that. That's the past. We're just going to look forward. Oh no, no. I want to know where that money went, and I want to hold people accountable that did something with that money that wasn't supposed to have been done.
Really appreciate that one. And I
Yeah,
don't know if we've heard a candidate say it that way, that actually looking into the past where somebody has taken funds. Um, I, I, I do know one of the, I will share this on this. There was one of the things when we were doing a little bit of research on Carol, is that she both received PPP funds, but which is one thing. A lot of people ran businesses. My wife did it in order to keep our employees hired during COVID. But what she did that was really unusual, and irritated a lot of, is she tried to vote to hide who received PPP funds from Congress, not from anywhere else, but from Congress. And I read that, I got a little bit burned over. So what do you mean you tried to make sure? So that
Yes,
might be one example of what you're talking about.
exactly. Why are you wanting to vote to hide who received money from Congress
If you're the
and
one
no
that
one
received it.
else. Why would you do that if you're not scared that people are going to get upset? Why else would you do that? I mean, that's the only reason you would do that.
Right.
Um, be transparent with the people. Okay, if you didn't want the money, don't take it. But don't take it, then vote to hide that you took it. I mean,
Right.
that's
No, I'm morally and ethically in alignment with what you're saying there. Um,
And first of
one of the
all,
things,
too,
yeah,
before you go on, I do
yeah,
appreciate that answer. I like how you're saying like take action. That's really what a lot of our goal is in our organization is to get people to get up and realize that if you don't do
absolutely.
something, nothing's gonna
It just keeps
change.
going. It
Yep,
just keeps going merrily along.
yep.
Um,
exactly. And I've said that, you can, everyone that I've talked to will complain about something. Every single person I've talked to will complain about something, whether it's their utility bill or their gas prices or grocery bill or the roads. They will complain about something, but you would be surprised at the number of those people who will actually take the time to get out and vote. And I'll ask some of them, well, did you vote? No, we really don't get into politics. Well,
It affects
really?
everything that you do.
It touches, and I've told people that. Look, whether you think you're politically involved or not, you are. Do you
Yep.
buy
right.
gas?
There's a
Yes,
saying that you may not be involved in politics, but politics is involved in you.
absolutely. Do you buy gas? Yes. Okay, well, you're paying taxes on that. Who controls the taxes? Your politicians. That's who. You don't have to be paying 3.50 a gallon for gasoline. If Congress would drop the federal tax on gasoline, you wouldn't be paying that much. It's again, I hear this often that people just don't get involved. They're not politically involved. Well, if you're alive and breathing, politics is touching your life. You need to understand that. I cannot stress that enough. That's one reason I'm involved.
And
Right.
we're trying to personally figure out ways that we can involve those people. And we've noticed that a lot of these people feel isolated and that their voice doesn't matter. So it's more of a question of how do we empower these people to actually understand that what you do and the choices you make can affect everyone and the things around you. So, Paul, if you want to go
Absolutely.
ahead. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry. No, before,
absolutely. And that's one thing that I do hear when I ask, well, why don't you vote? And people generally say, well, my voice doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which way I vote or who I vote for. I'm getting the short end of the stick, and I have felt that way myself before. It doesn't matter who I vote for. It's not going to benefit me any, so why mess with it? But with me, this is the first time since 1977, at least, that someone has ran for this seat that is not a politician. So that's one thing it's hard to get that out to all the people. Look, I am not one of them. I am not going there to get along and play their game. I'm going there to work for you and get things done.
Yeah, and it takes personally connecting with the people and someone that has most of the time lived through those experiences of the constituents. So,
Absolutely. If you've not lived it, then, I've said that many, many times. I can sit and talk about whatever I want, but if I've not personally lived it, I can talk about it, but I can't, I don't know what exactly it
yeah.
is. It's like our current congresswoman, multimillionaire. Do you think she worries about how much gas is? No. What about groceries? No. Pay $6, $8 for a dozen of eggs. You may not like it, but you're going to. You don't have to. There's been times that I've been to the grocery store and I've had to put things back because I didn't have the money to do it. Has she ever done that? No, no. It doesn't matter what the price is. She just pays it and goes on.
Mhm.
So, Paul, if you want to go ahead with the last one.
Got a last question, but I know we've got, I mean, went at a good clip. So we've taken the opportunity to ask you more follow-up questions than sometimes we do. mainly because we've moved quickly. Um, but what occurs to me is what Will and I have started here was an example of just what we said. It's listening to people with different views, finding a place where voters can listen to a range. And I know what we've run across many times is the sources of information that people get. If they don't have a nice broad range of sources about candidates, they sometimes get pigeonholed, whether if you just listen to the same news channel over and over again. So one of the things that we've really encouraged and Will is putting together on the site is putting material that teaches people this is what the Constitution is, what it's got history of, this is how to think about a how topics so you can like put in a lot of thoughts about
And
different
make an
views on
informed
it, so
decision.
forth. Right, so you can make an informed decision. So we're trying to give people the tools for exactly what you're saying. If you're going to be a voter, I think it was a Greek statement is like the obligation of it to be an informed citizen is to inform yourself from as many sources as you can, so that when you're representing people, um, you've got to hear from a range of voices. And so that one voice that might be out there that you didn't hear from is the one that says, "Oh no, I know who took that money." Or I'm pretty sure that line that was built there is over a septic field, and you might want to rebuild that road. Whatever it
Yes.
is. I mean, that those are more concrete, but there's so many different ways to view things, and the job of a politician, if it's done well, is to really take that all into account and bring in different views and then realize like, oh, I see how that works now. And then and build what needs to be built. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. The last question, and once again, when we close up, take as much time as you want to expand on anything. But the last question is, do you support ranked choice voting? Would you support it if you had the opportunity to?
That one I'm going to have to research just a little bit before I
Gotcha.
give a
It's
definite
okay.
answer.
Yep,
A
nope,
few
no problem.
candidates have also said the same. They're not familiar with it, so you don't have
Uh,
to give us an answer on that one if you don't know of it. But
yes, and that's one thing with me that you'll find if I don't have, and I've been asked a lot. Back in the beginning, I was asked about CPS, which is
Child
a
protective.
major disaster. But at the time, I didn't. In the beginning of this, I didn't know much about them, so I would tell folks that would ask, you're going to have to let me research that because I'm not going to. I'm not a politician. I'm just not going to tell you what you want to hear or what I think you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. So I do often get asked questions that I'm not sure what they are. I have not researched them, and that's one of them. So I would like to research that one before I give any answer.
that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Alrighty, well
Um,
that's all the questions we had for you. If you have anything to close with, here's your chance.
Yes, one of the things that I would like to do is, you touched on just a moment ago about educating voters, and our kids now are our future generation, of course. So one thing I would like to see, and one thing that I will do with District 1 is start to bring, middle school, early high school aged kids to DC and not just pick one school a year or something. There's a lot of schools in the district. But I would like to bring, the children, let's say eighth, ninth, 10th grade, um, to DC and start them off at that age, seeing how the government works. That is, I think, essential. I don't know why that's not happened yet, but it
Yeah,
hasn't. And it's something that I want to do is bring these children in and let them see. Now, maybe they're not interested, but it could be part of the curriculum. Maybe you're not interested in politics, but once you get in here and see how it all works and realize that this is how changes are made, then that will get them interested. That will get them focused because, again, they are the future of America. and we need to start them off that way.
Yep. And I agree. That's where me and Paul chatted about this. That's where I think a lot of our education system fails, is it doesn't bring kids up in this way. It's you teach things about like let's say a math. We read textbooks among textbooks about things, and we don't give them the actual experience of these things, which things like you were saying is showing them how it works. That's how a lot of people are going to retain it and become interested and understand it. So,
Exactly. And I want to, if I have to, that of course that's all things that I'll have to work out. But if I have to take part of my salary to get all of these schools at different times, of course, but to get them all to DC and let them spend just a day or two following me around, seeing how things work. They need they need this. This is their everyday life. They need to know how many kids finish school and they don't even know what the Constitution says.
Right.
99% of them, if they don't learn it on their own, they don't learn it. They don't, it's not taught in school. How can you live and continue to keep a free society in America as it is if you don't even know what the Constitution says?
Right.
You,
right.
you have no idea how politics work. You have no idea what's going on. You We just need to get our young generation involved, and that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I and I
Uh,
and I can definitely affirm that a lot of they did a survey not too long ago, and it was something less than 50% could name the three branches of government, which was mind-boggling to me.
That is
Um,
totally unacceptable.
yeah, it's like the the three branches are pretty straightforward, and then the other one, which is kind of what Will and I are in, is even though we're citizens, the fourth estate includes people that provide information and look at what government is doing, hold government accountable. Is really happens from journalism, and now it's what we've run into is how social media is run. People are getting less information, not more sometimes. Thank you so much.
so yeah,
Yeah,
that's all we have today for you, Larry. Thank you so much again for your time, and that's all. Of
I appreciate you having me. Again,
course.
any time that you want to speak with me, feel free to reach out. I'm available. Um, we can schedule a time if there's any follow-up questions that you want or need. I'm more than happy to just sit down with you.